As you can see, I'll float, Mark is floating, and so it really takes a lot of effort to learn how to control that. When I set things down on the ground, you can let it go and it sits there. And so we think, just like at home, you have your lights on the ceiling, so that is up. But then you can do this, like Randy's doing right now. It looks like for him, that he's standing up. So there's really no sense of direction other than maybe the writing on the walls and the lights that we have. Really neat when you're working, you can get in all different kinds of spots, and it all seems to work fine. So it's a great place to live and work. When you're working, you can get in all different kinds of spots, and it all seems to work fine.
Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair?
I don't know. We're going to have to do something for you.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Watch this. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Watch this.
Thank you very much. I know we've got limited time. You've got lots to do up there, but I guess you one last question. Lots to do up there, but I guess you one last question. Lots to do up there, but I guess you lots to do up there.
What's the most fun for you? I mean, is that it? Is weightlessness it? If somebody asks you what's the most fun?
You know, I think the most fun thing for me, aside from being able just to do something like that whenever you feel like it, is being able to share this experience. And so I try and keep in touch with friends and family through email and using the phone. You know, I think the most fun thing for me, the most fun thing for me
which you designed in a certain way to have it actually, the screen directions flopped, right?
Yes, yeah. It's on wires, but it's all upside down, and then the camera does a sort of rotational move that makes everything else look. It's sort of, we found like even little tricks like flopping images or things like that, or putting a camera upside down or things like that could do a ton, because
it really helps sell it.
Because the intent actually is to sort of confuse the viewer enough in terms of directionality, because that's sort of what space does. There, they actually aren't on any wires at all. They're just sort of moving, kind of acting like that. But the set has been clocked and turned around, so that it's, again,
you're disoriented.
You get away with it for just that brief scene, plus with an object floating by, like the film canisters and things.
Just the camera back.
Things like that can hopefully do just enough to help sell it.
Yeah.
The obvious question is, okay, you've been a senior CIA officer, and do you believe this? Yes, I believe this. However, let me clarify that 90% of the people in CIA are good people trapped in a bad system, and there are at least 7 CIAs. Okay? So CIA is not a monolithic organization. Also, when we, against the orders of President Truman, when Allen Dulles brought in all the Nazi scientists and so forth, they went to two places. They went to CIA and they went to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which in our world we call it not a space agency. And as Kathy O'Brien has said so clearly, that's where the bulk of the mind control has been done. So just to mention the 7 CIAs as a partial and very brief answer to your question. When Allen Dulles brought in all the Nazi scientists and so forth, they went to two places. They went to CIA and they went to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which in our world we call it not a space agency.
I think that's a cultural thing, and also just the way their technology is and the way their program is.
Hi, Sarah again. I would like to ask, when you've looked out of the cupola, what is the most remarkable thing you've ever seen?
That's another tough one. I mean, there's many beautiful and remarkable things to see when you look out the cupola. I guess so far from me, I like the waters, the shallow waters in the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue of the other part of the ocean and the islands is just magnificent. It's just so beautiful for me.
Hey, this is Dave from Marketing again. What is the most challenging thing about wearing a spacesuit, and what improvements would you like to see in future spacesuits?
Hey, Dave, excuse me.
In the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue of the other part of the ocean. In the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue of the other part of the ocean. In the Caribbean or the atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue of the other part of the ocean. The atolls in southeast Pacific are just beautiful. This blue, this aqua that comes up against the dark blue.
Google Plus Hangout, International Space Station, we have you loud and clear aboard. We have our own way of hanging out up here. Watch my buddies hang out. We're ready to hang out with you guys. Welcome aboard.
Awesome. We have a lot of questions for you guys today, so let's start with our first one from YouTube.
And what comes after the International Space Station once its mission is over? How do we ensure the presence of humans in space?
Well, that's a great question. The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen.
To me, a frontier is a place where your normal intuition no longer applies. The answers are not in the back of the book, and you're going to have to figure things out for yourself. And this makes an environment that's rich in discovery. It makes an environment where the things you learn are going to tickle your imagination and enrich your mind, and then you share them with everybody on Earth, and that is the value of going into these frontiers. And another feature of a frontier is that once you start answering questions, you will find that the very questions you asked to begin with were not the right questions that needed to be asked in the first place. And this character is what's going to keep human beings from becoming a fossil layer eroding out from some hillside on planet Earth. And we won't become dinosaurs. After all, if the dinosaurs explored the space, if they colonized other planets, they would still be alive today.
Actually, we are really enjoying this special environment. We are floating all day long, and nice mic, Mark. And we are also every day doing very, very interesting experiments. So it's really fun. We are really enjoying this special environment. We are floating all day long, and nice mic, Mark. And we are also every day doing very, very interesting experiments. So it's really fun.
The answers are not in the back of the book, and you're going to have to figure things out for yourself.
Done growing some lettuce, and our Russians were growing onions, so it's an extremely lively environment up here right now. Lots going on.
Well, thank you very much. I know we've got limited time. You've got lots to do up there, but let me ask you one last question. Lots to do up there, but let me ask you one last question. Who's supposed to lots to do up there, but let me ask you lots to do up there, but
And so what do you do to wet your toothbrush, and where do you spit afterwards? Those are the big questions. So first we just fill up a water bag with water, and this is what we're going to put on our toothpaste. So let me get a ball of water here. There's a nice ball of water floating on the end. Shut off the straw very carefully. Okay, and get my toothbrush wet. Toothbrushes soak up water nicely. So now I have a nice wet toothbrush. Good. So I'm partway there. Got my toothbrush wet. Now I just need to put some toothpaste on it and get cleaning my teeth. So I'm going to suck the water off it, because where else would it go? Nice wet toothbrush. Grab some toothpaste. We just use standard toothpaste in space. Squeeze a little on, not too much, because you're going to have to clean it up later. Okay, so there's my toothpaste on my toothbrush. It's wet. It's ready to go. It's loaded. Brush my teeth just like normal. Get them all. Especially the ones in the back. You should brush your teeth for about as long as you can sing happy birthday. That should be long enough. Okay. You should brush your teeth for about as long as you can sing happy birthday. That should be long enough. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I've got a mouthful of toothpaste stuff, I got a dirty toothbrush. So what I do is I just swallow the toothpaste. It's edible, won't kill you. And what else am I going to do? Put it in a rag and have a dirty rag? Doesn't make any sense. So in space, you don't swallow your toothpaste. It leaves my toothbrush just a little bit dirty, so I need to find where my water went and rinse it out. Fortunately, things are weightless, so things don't go too far. So here's my water again. So now I'll get a little water in my mouth. Rinse out my toothbrush. So I have a relatively clean, slightly damp toothbrush to put back in my toothbrush case. The toothpaste is hung back on the wall. We communally share one toothpaste tube, just like living in a dormitory, and I still have good water to drink. And it doesn't go up your nose. There's nothing to push it up your nose. It just floats, so it works fine. That's how you brush your teeth in space.
The rocket equation, it's a beautiful thing. You're fake. No astronaut launches for space with their fingers crossed. That's not how we deal with risk.
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
What I learned from 21 years as an astronaut is that the more you know, the less you fear.
You sit on a throne of lies.
The reason I wanted to do this masterclass is to share the hidden depths of purpose that are behind space exploration.
You're a fake. I'm a fake?
Yes. When the clock hits 0, start focusing in, thinking of nothing else but the moment that you're in. Study every system on a spaceship, and then boil it down to one breath. You have to push your lungs forward through the drag of the atmosphere. Crushed into your chair. The reason is 1/2 rho v squared s. 16 times the speed of sound. As you accelerate harder and harder, the light blue Florida sky starts to get darker and darker. And then suddenly, you're weightless. Turn the handle and open the hatch. You pull yourself out into the universe. And now suddenly, when you move your knees, you can feel the searing heat of the sun on one side and the incredibly cold emptiness of space on the other. When you're no longer Earthlings, how do you navigate? You can use the stars.
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface. I don't remember seeing any.
You start to unavoidably wonder, are we alone in the universe or not? Our technology is just good enough now that some of you taking this masterclass are going to fly in space.
You serious?
We're never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon.
And we cannot see stars. There really are billions and billions of stars, and you can see them.
I see so many stars and planets.
I don't remember seeing any.
Because you can see the stars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
It's not
which
a
is
black
cool
hole.
thing.
I mean, it's black, but there's all kinds of little polka dots.
There's all the stars there. The cool thing is about you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can, and there's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
You see the gas Magellan clouds of the
Yeah,
Milky
you
Way
see
galaxy.
the Magellanic Clouds.
Magellanic. See, I just thought the
well,
Magellan
there's a large
clouds. I
one
didn't
and
want
a
to.
small one, right?
We will use a number of films and slides which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth. The flight, as you know, started promptly. And I think that was characteristic of all the events of the flight. The Saturn gave us one magnificent ride. Both into Earth orbit and on a trajectory to the moon. And on a trajectory to the moon. To the moon. The moon. The moon.
In addition, we also accomplished a spacewalk for getting a repair done on an external MDM. That MDM failed, and we had it repaired within 3 days. Another amazing event by our teams. In addition, Expedition 51 Thomas was able to grapple the Cygnus vehicle, and we unloaded thousands of pounds of cargo and reloaded it with trash during the time frame. And we have accomplished an incredible amount of scientific research during the time of Expedition 51, including my favorite, the osteomics investigation, the European grip and grasp and Mars experiments, the U.S.-Russian fluid shifts investigation, and we've launched 34 different satellites from the NanoRacks launchers. So it's been an incredible time frame for scientific investigations as well. We are, of course, going to miss Oleg and Toma. They are exceptional astronauts. They are exceptional astronauts in every sense of the word. But mostly, we're going to miss their sense of humor and camaraderie.